Hello, and welcome to the Funds for NGOs podcast, the platform where we spotlight changemakers building better futures worldwide. Today, we're joined by Caroline Peters, founder of the Callas Foundation, a feminist organization that supports survivors of gender-based violence, mentors boys in gender equity, and builds food security through community kitchens. Caroline's journey from survivor to social entrepreneur shows how courage and community leadership can drive powerful social change. Recently, Caroline was honored as both the Social Entrepreneur and Reader's Choice Award winner at the Santam Women of the Futures Awards 2025. Caroline, welcome and congratulations on your dual awards. That's very impressive.
Thank you, John, and thank you for this opportunity to highlight my work, and thank you to the viewers for watching this.
Absolutely. How exciting to be a dual award winner. What does that mean to you, Caroline, to have you and your work featured on such a big platform?
It's really, truly humbling. For me, it's, this recognition, it's not just personal. It belongs to every woman, the youth, and the communities on the Cape Flats. For those of you that know, the Cape Flats is one of the most violent areas in Cape Town in South Africa. So it is for all of us and the communities on the Cape Flats who inspire everything we do. It says to me that our work rooted in the compassion and dignity and justice, it matters. It affirms our work, John, and it gives visibility to grassroots leadership and survivor-led change, which are often overlooked.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Caroline, you're a survivor yourself. How did the pain that you experienced influence the work that you do now with the foundation?
John, if you asked me as a young woman, almost turned 16, I was gang raped. And if you asked me many years ago, I didn't realize, that survival gave me a voice. And in that same incident, it was a very violent incident. I also lost one of my best friends. So survival gave me a voice, but purpose is what gave me that gave that voice direction. I turned my pain into purpose because I refused to let the violence define me. So my journey taught me, John, that healing and activism can coexist. And often, we say we're busy healing, and so these two can coexist. And that by standing up for others, we also reclaim our own power. And that's the spirit that drives Callas Foundation.
Wonderful. And what a nice experience to take a horrible experience, a real cruel, negative experience, and harness the power that you feel from that, the energy that you obtain to do good for others and to help others avoid the same fate.
Yes. Many times, John, I'm asked what makes me get up in the morning. Like I said to you earlier, I was at court. We are opposing bail in a sexual violence matter. And that is what drives me to see that other young women get the support that I never had when this happened to me, John, many years ago.
And I'll bet you've made a difference in a lot of different lives thanks to the work that you do.
Yes.
I know that the foundation is involved in survivor advocacy, mentoring boys, and community kitchens. How do these functions work together to create safer communities?
John, so all of them are interconnected, what we call the intersectional. Whether it's food security, healing, and prevention can't exist in isolation. So a hungry mother cannot focus on court proceedings. A boy who never learns empathy may grow into a man who harms. So our model brings it all together. We feed, we teach, we heal, we build safer communities from the ground up. So every program that exists within Callas speaks to either feeding, teaching, or healing. And it's all to build safer communities from the ground up, John.
Excellent. Excellent. And I know that reaching out to boys before they grow into men makes a difference, right? Giving them the benefit of understanding how to interact with women. If they're not taught, they may know no other way.
Yes. Our boys program, John, it's for boys from the age. In fact, we started saying boys from 10, and then we realized, no, boys as young as 8 years old is influenced by gangsterism on the Cape Flats. And so we started taking in younger boys younger. By the time they reach 15, there's almost nothing more you can do for them. So the boys who started off in the program, the 16-year-olds has now become mentors in this program. So we have seen the social workers who's at school with some of the boys have asked how can they refer other young boys at the schools that is getting into trouble at school. So these boys are all referred to our program. And the biggest thing is about building or the program is to advocate for boys not to enter the gang system, John. And we know once they sucked into the gangsterism, we know what world awaits them.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes,
Many NGOs struggle with gender-based discrimination and gender-based violence. It sounds like your grassroots efforts are really the secret to your success. Would you say that?
yes. Yes, John. Yes. Our approach works because it starts where people are at. You know, earlier in the year, we wanted to start the work with the men's program. We did not have a funder. We started with very basics, where we're at on our premises, whether we serve sandwich at the event, that is what is served. But the work happens. We listen before we lead. Our team is made up of survivors, of mothers and youth who live these realities every day. So we build trust first, John, and that trust opens doors for change, for accountability, and for lasting impact.
Wonderful. And speaking of the people in the organization, I know that you work with local women and young people. How do
Yes.
they interact and help support the objectives of the organization?
John, so the local women and youth don't just influence our work, they lead it. Women run our kitchens, the youth lead our human rights clubs and our voice program. So they are mentored too by their allies, not bystanders. It's community ownership. They define the problems, and that's why we work well together. We design the solutions together.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It can't be easy being a feminist organization in South Africa. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face?
Sure, John. Patriarchy is still so deeply rooted in our systems. So even in spaces meant to protect women, there are cultural silences, there are institutional barriers, and at times the resistance to feminist leadership. I'm often called a man hater, and I love men. I always say I carry my father's surname. I'm married to a man. And sometimes I don't even know why it matters, why I have to say that. But I believe in persistence. We challenge with love and we push until the systems start to shift because equality for me is non-negotiable.
Love it. Love it. So true. And you have some rather unique challenges in South Africa, but
Yes,
unfortunately, sexism and gender-based violence is a worldwide epidemic, isn't it? Um,
yes, yes,
it
absolutely,
may be
John.
bad in South Africa, but it's bad in a lot of
Yes,
places, fortunately.
yes,
Well, so glad that you're doing some work to make that better.
yes, we do.
What can other NGOs or donors do to support survivor-led organizations like yours?
John, often big organizations are often look more trustworthy because we community-based organization, we smaller organizations want to say, trust us and fund us directly. Too often survivors' voices are filtered through large organizations, yet it's grassroots groups and organizations like the Callas Foundation who do the daily work of saving lives. We need long-term flexible support, not just projects, but investment in the people who carry this work in their bones. So for me, we do the work. We are often funded via bigger organizations. And so you can imagine how stressful it is to just keep the organization going. So I want to again reiterate and say, trust us and fund us directly.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you're open to not just financial support, but boots on the
Yes,
ground people,
yes,
and
definitely.
as well.
Yes, yes, John. So we have interns here at the moment. We have interns from Trinity College in Connecticut. We have interns, masters in students, interns from UConn, the University of Connecticut. We get from Japan, the ICU university. It's a international Christian university from Japan. They are long-term supporters of our organization. We've had a request from Germany for next year for a month-long internship. So we encourage different types of giving. Yeah. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm sure there's many painful stories that you've dealt with over the years. And
Yes.
without breaching any confidentiality of any person, can you share an example of how you feel like your organization made a difference in a young woman's life or in a
Yes.
young person's life?
So I'm going to tell you one of the cases that we had. Two sisters were sexually abused by their stepfather for many years. It did not end well for the 18-year-old. The 18-year-old committed suicide. In fact, eventually when they spoke out, they were older. They were 16 and 17. A charge was laid. They spoke to one of the aunts, and the aunt went and laid a charge against the stepfather. Was arrested. He eventually made bail. He got bail, and the mother decided to move out because one of the bail conditions was that he doesn't come close to these girls. And the mother then left them alone and moved out with her husband. The 18-year-old for the rest of the year was very depressed, etc. They came to our organization. We did the court support. We walked alongside them. The 18-year-old could not take it, and she took an overdose of tablets. And she died a month later in hospital, John. She went into a coma. She got to, but she didn't survive. It was a very bad overdose. And she then succumbed and she passed away. The 19-year-old at this stage was lost, and we didn't know what to do. Anyway, this was a year when she then also matriculated the year before. They matriculated, it's your grade 12, done with school, and now they're going to college. And so we brought her into the organization. We literally sat her behind a desk, worked with her emotionally, helped her. She now runs our human rights clubs, John. She runs the boys program. She's one of the coordinator in the Triple B program. That's our boys program and our human rights clubs. And I often look at her and I think that was one of our biggest successes. I mean, there's a few of them. So when we say we work survivor-led, we have had another woman in our organization that is now working in a laboratory, you know. So one of the things that we do well is we bring survivors into the organization, and it's part of their healing. And almost we don't just heal them, but we also empower them. We equip them to go out and then work, John. So there's a revolving door within the organization of young women that come and go through our organization. And then there was another young woman, successful prosecution, worked for a few months, is now working very well, tells the story publicly, etc. So there's a few of that, you know. And then, of course, then there's those that, but every day we walk alongside survivors through our Access to Justice program, accompany them to court, ensure, even with the investigating officers, we become the buffer from the cold courtroom to the survivors of sexual violence and gender-based violence, John.
Wonderful. And the work that you do, I mean, it's got to be dark and full of
Yeah.
despair much of the time, but stories like that must fill your heart with hope
Yes.
and warmth to have a success story and be able to help somebody change their life, right? Have a
Yes.
better life than they
Yes.
did before, thanks to the Callas Foundation.
Yes, definitely, John. And I mean, we have a few of these successes, very big successes. And then, of course, just for me, even in the food queue where people come every day to the food queue, we have GBV, and I call them the GBV warriors. They walk the queue, they speak to people, they ensure that women and children and the men in the queue is okay. We offer them psychosocial support. So when you come here for a plate of food at Callas Foundation, we offer you more than that. We offer you support in various ways, John, through psychosocial. And, you know, we even advocate for you on different levels. We belong to bigger networks, belong to the Union Against Hunger. We belong to the kitchen. In fact, we coordinate the Western Cape Kitchen Network. We work with the courts. We work extensively at Athlone and Weinberg and Mitchell's Plain courts. We have a reputation at courtrooms. We come in our bright orange t-shirts. So we have a record of really we have good success stories. I mean, every month we can write up a success story with our monthly reports, John.
Full. So you're not just feeding stomachs, you're feeding souls,
No.
it sounds like.
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful.
Definitely, John. Yeah.
What inspiring work. And it's no surprise to me why you were honored recently. Congratulations again. That's just wonderful work that you're doing.
Yes. Thank you,
What,
John.
Caroline, looking out, let's say 5 years from now, what would be your vision for South Africa and for your foundation?
Sure, John, for South Africa, South Africa free from all this violence. I don't know if you follow South Africa, but right now, currently, there's this gang violence that is completely out of control. We're arranging a dialogue for women on the Cape Flats to come together to speak about what is happening in their communities. So, a South Africa that I want to say free from violence, but I almost want that feels so long, far off, John. I want to say where violence are reduced, where violence are under control, where the justice system work, where the South African police services works for the people, where the actors and the stakeholders that are supposed to protect. We've got the best legislation in South Africa around gender-based violence, around the Domestic Violence Act, the Sexual Offences Bill. We have trafficking in persons. We have pieces of legislation. We have lots of policy, but these policies need to become practical and it needs to be implemented. It needs to become the lived realities of people. The policies needs to start protecting. That's what I wish for South Africa, John. And then for Callas Foundation, we're expanding our boys program. We're expanding our human rights clubs because we've also realized we need to do more preventative work. So how do we do the preventative work? By working with the young boys, working with the children in the schools through our human rights clubs in schools. We have seen bullying is out of control on the Cape Flats, in our schools, everywhere across South Africa. There's been the worst bullying. So we want to integrate climate justice and gender equality into all our programs. We're also deepening our community kitchen network to strengthen women's livelihoods. We want women who works in this kitchen to be remunerated, John. So every initiative that we take is a step towards dignity, safety, and equality, the vision we've carried since day one, John.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Just so inspiring. It really is inspiring.
Thank you,
Caroline, as
John.
our time winds down, I want to ask you if you have just one message for those watching today to take away about the situation in South Africa or the Callas Foundation, what is your one main message that you'd like people to take away from this interview?
So I don't want to sound like the bearer of bad, and I don't want to sound all doom and gloom. I know that we encourage people to come and visit our beautiful country. We live with beautiful people. We live in beautiful communities, John. However, gender-based violence, I want to say, is out of control in our country. But gender-based violence, it's not a woman's issue. It's a human issue. Until we all decide that violence is unacceptable in our homes, in our communities, and in our culture, nothing will change. So in South Africa, we still struggle with a lot of cultural norms. So we must choose courage over silence. We must stand up. We must speak up. We must protect one another. So the time is now to do all this, John.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And if people want to learn more about the Callas Foundation and how they can help, should they reach out to your website? Is that the best way to contact you?
Yes, our website is www.callasfoundation.org.za, and our email address is admin@callasfoundation.org.za, John. Please reach out if you're able to assist our work in any way. We look forward to hearing from you.
Wonderful. Caroline, it's been a wonderful discussion. We've been speaking with Caroline Peters, winner of the 2025 Santam Women of the Future Awards for both Social Entrepreneur and Reader's Choice, and leader of the Callas Foundation. Caroline, it's absolutely wonderful work you're doing, and I'm hoping people will visit your website They can also learn more where this podcast will be featured on Media 24 platforms in collaboration with Fair Lady and True Love magazines. Caroline, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome, John. You're welcome.
Wonderful.